Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video I'll be talking spoilers for Top Gun Maverick. So if you haven't seen the film yet and don't want the plot spoiled, click away now and you can check out my spoiler-free thoughts on my straight out of theatre reaction, which I will leave a link to in the description below. As always in these spoiler videos, chapters on the left of your screen and they're timestamped in the description if you feel like jumping to a specific point. So let's get started. So overall I really enjoyed the film. It's a terrific follow-up to the first movie and like the best sequels, works entirely on its own merits. What I found interesting at the start was the credit that it was a Don Simpson, Jerry Bruckheimer production. For those of you who don't know, Simpson and Bruckheimer were the producers of the original movie and several other blockbusters from the 80s and 90s. Simpson actually passed away in 1996, so I'm guessing his credit here is a tribute to him as he was such a key figure in the development of the original Top Gun. There's a story and a half about Simpson's personal life, which I won't get into here, but I highly recommend the book High Concept, Don Simpson and the Hollywood Culture of Success by Charles Fleming. All I can say is, prepare to be shocked. So at the age of 59, Tom Cruise is showing no sign of slowing down. If anything, it seems like he's just getting started. Every Mission Impossible movie seems to improve on the last, with Cruise doing more and more crazy stunts as he gets older. In a way, he's like an American Jackie Chan, risking life and serious injury with each film. What's incredible is that it took this long to get a sequel to Top Gun made. The original was the biggest box office success of 1986 and a genuine pop culture phenomenon. And this is Hollywood, where successful movies were turned into franchises whether you liked it or not. For many years though, Cruise consistently refused to do sequels to any of his films, Mission Impossible being the exception until now. The closest he came to doing one before was the 1990 film Days of Thunder, which reunited him with director Tony Scott and producers Simpson and Bruckheimer. That film could have easily been called Top Car, as it was basically Top Gun with race cars. It wasn't very well received though, which probably soured him on the idea of an actual Top Gun sequel. It may have taken 36 years, but the film was well worth the wait. Cruise is basically a one-man movie making machine, and he proves once again here why he's the world's greatest movie star. What's remarkable is that in Hollywood's current trend of pushing agendas in their entertainment, Top Gun Maverick is 100% woke-free. It has no agenda but to entertain audiences. So much has been written about Cruise's association with Scientology, but he never puts any of that in his films and never lets them get political to shove any agendas down our throats. The man's an entertainer, and he seems to be one of the few remaining movie stars who knows what the audience actually wants: to be entertained. So the plot basically has Maverick being sent back to Top Gun to train a new generation of fighter pilots for a mission to take out a uranium enrichment facility of an unnamed rogue nation. They're always referred to as the enemy or the target because they don't want to offend any real nation, otherwise the movie wouldn't play there. It's all about the money. So while he's there, Maverick has to reunite with Rooster, the son of his old friend and co-pilot Goose, played by Anthony Edwards in the original film. Maverick also strikes up a romance with an old flame, Penny, played by Jennifer Connelly, whose character, and I only recently found this out, was name dropped in the original film as an admiral's daughter that Maverick made a high-speed pass at. So Miles Teller plays Rooster, and it's really good casting as he does look very similar to Goose, played by Anthony Edwards in the original film. Teller is actually a very talented actor who unfortunately gets badly cast in a lot of bad movies, especially that awful Fantastic Four movie from a few years back. He's shown he can be really good though in movies like Whiplash and War Dogs, and he does a great job here. What I found surprising was the conflict between him and Maverick wasn't the death of his father. It turns out he doesn't blame him for that, but that Maverick pulled his papers and set his career back a few years. This was done at the request of his late mother, played by Meg Ryan in the original. Speaking of which, it's a shame that there was no effort to have Meg Ryan or Kelly McGillis have at least cameo roles in the film, especially McGillis, as her character Charlie was so prominent in the original. It's unfortunately down to the sad but true fact that looks matter in Hollywood as far as female performers go. And both actresses are in their 60s now and probably haven't aged quite as well as Cruise has. But I still think it's an oversight not to have them involved in some way, though Ryan does appear in stock footage in a flashback scene. Speaking of the flashback scene, it's the only part of the movie which I thought was badly handled. After being thrown out of a bar for not being able to pay his bill, Maverick hears Rooster singing Great Balls of Fire with his friends at the piano, and it causes him to have a dramatic flashback to Goose doing the same thing with his family in the first movie. I understand the reasoning behind this scene is to remind people that Rooster is the son of Goose, but I thought it was a little overdone. We already know this information, and so does Maverick, so Yeah, I thought the scene wasn't really needed. When it comes to the relationship between Maverick and Penny, it was a nice side plot, and as I said in my first reaction video, it's good to see Cruz and his leading lady being more or less in the same age group. The fact that Penny is the Admiral's daughter that was referenced in the original movie was a nice touch, and Cruz and Jennifer Connelly have good chemistry here. The scene where the two of them are caught out by Penny's daughter was pretty funny, and the whole subplot is played mostly for laughs, really. It's not overly melodramatic like the Maverick and Charlie relationship in the first movie. I also thought it was refreshing in a current Hollywood movie to see a well-written female character actually supporting her man when Maverick is doubting himself. There's no forced feminism here. So the character of ICEMAN, as played by Val Kilmer, plays a pivotal role in the film, despite the fact that Kilmer himself only appears in one scene, as ICEMAN is in the terminal stages of cancer, which is not too unlike Kilmer's real-life health issues. It turns out ICEMAN is the reason Maverick has stayed in the Navy for as long as he has, and tries to get Maverick and Rooster to reconcile. Surprisingly, ICEMAN's cameo ends on a funny note as he asks Maverick who between them is the best pilot, and Maverick's response of, "This is a nice moment, let's not ruin it," was pretty cool. It's a nice bookend to their relationship, which started out in such an antagonistic way in the first movie, to one of deep friendship, as we see here. Now when it comes to the flight sequences in this film, they were so well done. They were impressive in the first movie, but you can really see the commitment the filmmakers had in keeping everything as real as possible. The film was shot in the IMAX format, and for those of you who don't know, those cameras are big and they basically had to place them in the cockpits and the exteriors of the planes that the cast were flying. The actors basically had to direct their own footage as well as acting in those planes, which sounds really dangerous. This is something Cruise pioneered himself in Mission Impossible Fallout during that amazing helicopter battle at the end of that movie. The flight training scenes have a real sense of danger to them, even when they're all joking around. The mission itself to take out a uranium enrichment facility had a distinct Star Wars feel to it, right down to the fact that they had to fly their fighters in a trench run, avoiding missile emplacements in enemy fighters. Even the target is referred to as being only a few meters wide. This is clearly inspired by the attack on the Death Star in the original Star Wars movie, and I'm all for it. I'm sure there's going to be a few YouTube mashups of this scene in the near future, with music and dialogue from A New Hope edited in here. I might even do it myself. So during the mission, Maverick and Rooster are shot down, and have to steal an old F-14 Tomcat to escape from the enemy base. This was a scene I certainly wasn't expecting, and I genuinely thought that Maverick wasn't going to make it out alive here. The dogfight with enemy fighters was very exciting stuff, even though it kind of reminded me of a similar sequence in X-Men 2, right down to the bit where the enemy make warning hand signals and pull back to firing position. Even some of the dialogue was similar. The scene where Maverick and Rooster try to eject out is obviously a callback to the scene in the original with Maverick and Goose, and we think history is going to repeat itself. And I swear, I thought Maverick was going to die here, rather than have Rooster suffer the same fate as his father. Thankfully though, Hangman comes to the rescue, Maverick reconciles with Rooster, ends up with Penny, and they all live happily ever after. So overall, this was a fantastic sequel, and well worth the long wait. What's refreshing is that unlike a lot of other movie franchises these days, it doesn't tease any further sequels, because it doesn't really need any. I don't think there's any more stories left to tell here, so a Top Gun 3 isn't needed. So that's it for my spoiler review of Top Gun Maverick. Did you like the film? Did you think it was better than the original, and would you like to see a Top Gun 3? Let me know in the comments down below, as I'd love to discuss it with you all. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and click the notification bell so that way you're notified immediately when I upload new content. Most importantly, I hope you all look after yourselves, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye for now.